So I would like to call very seasoned Toastmaster is entrepreneur, love nature, and VP Public Relation of Toastmaster Club. So I would like to call Toastmaster MS Sajjad. Before MS Sajjad start his speech, I request his speech evaluator. Please, Commissioners, stand and decide the objective of the speech.
Okay, so today Toastmaster MS Sajjad that he is delivering his project 10, which is inspire your audience. So all the best.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and the time is 8 to 10 minutes.
I'd like to invite you all on a journey. So everyone join me by closing your eyes. No peeking, everyone close your eyes. And imagine, travel with me 30 years into the future. Imagine yourself in the middle of a green meadow, with your children and perhaps your grandchildren around you. The air is fresh, the skies are blue, you are surrounded by trees. There are all sorts of insects around. The children are chasing after dragonflies, honeybees are collecting nectar. Grasshoppers, butterflies, all sorts of wild animals. You hear this sound of birds chirping. You feel thirsty, but not to worry. There is a stream of fresh water nearby. You go and have a drink, and you are refreshed. You are happy and content, and in good health. Now open your eyes. I hate to disappoint you, but that future is not going to happen. Not unless we do something about it right now. For we have poisoned our air, polluted our water, and we are killing wildlife at an unprecedented rate. There have been 5 mass extinctions in the history of our planet. The first one, the Permian, wiped out more than 90% of life on Earth. It happened a couple of 100 million years ago. But do you know how long that event took? That event took millions of years, which allowed life, the remaining life, some life, to survive, to adapt to changes, and carry on. Can anyone guess how many unique species of plants and animals we are killing off, human beings are killing off right at this moment? Let's say 50 a year, 100 a year. Estimates put the number at between 150 to 200 unique species every 24 hours. Every 24 hours. And just to put a face on those, this is Andoros. Few of you might have heard of it. It was a giant form of cattle, wild bull, you can say. And it was part of many ancient cultures, in many ancient traditions. Yet this was hunted to extinction, and the last one died out just a few centuries ago. The passenger pigeon, it was once the most numerous bird on the planet, numbering in the billions. And I heard that it was quite delicious as well. Maybe that's why we managed to hunt it to extinction within a matter of decades. Tasmanian tiger, extinct. More recently, the western black rhino, also gone forever. Now, these are the animals that none of us might have seen. But these are critically endangered animals, which we may have seen, but our children will unlikely get to see. The pangolin. There was a time when you could find this right here in Islamabad, not anymore. The Bornean orangutan. This majestic creature is on the verge of extinction because its habitat is being destroyed to make way for palm olive plantations, a cash crop. Who likes sushi? Okay. Sushi or tuna? I absolutely love it, and I practically lived on it for a few years. Unfortunately, the bluefin tuna also on the endangered list. Now, these animals, they aren't just good to look at or good to eat. They play an essential role in our ecosystem. if all the insects died out today, we would die out because our food won't grow. Each tree gives off enough oxygen for 4 human beings to breathe. And do you know who has the highest deforestation rate in all of Asia? Yes, our country, Pakistan. Since the 90s, we have lost 40% of our forest cover. 40%, imagine that. So many habitats destroyed, so much oxygen taken away. The Billion Trees Tsunami is an amazing initiative, and I hope that we get to see more such initiatives going on. However, that covers only a fraction of what we have already lost. So how are we responsible for all this death and destruction? Each year we are pumping out tons and tons of CO2 and other harmful gases into our atmosphere through our industries, through our gasoline-powered vehicles. And these in turn are causing the climate to shift, polar ice caps to melt. This was a recent photo. Can anyone recognize what this is? It's a polar bear. It's a starving polar bear. And it's starving because its habitat is being lost. The pack ice that it relies on for hunting its food, that is disappearing. Similar things are going on across the world. Our ocean levels are rising. Most of our planet's surface is covered by water. Yet, we pump out industrial waste and human waste directly into our lakes, rivers, streams, and oceans. And that is paying off a lot of wildlife. The plastics that we use, synthetic fibers and confetti, and all these, they get dumped, eventually ending up in the oceans. They become part of the food chain, infecting the food chain. And that is a negative problem. That means in a few years, you won't be able to eat any fish anymore, because besides mercury poisoning, it will be infested with tiny particles of plastic. These are serious concerns, and it already might be too late for most of these species. But there is still something that we can do about it. What can we do about it? Or are we doomed to witness the failure, to witness the destruction of our planet? There is a lot we can do about it. First of all, on global level, we need to join hands, put our differences aside, and come together to work towards a single goal. Unfortunately, we have elected politicians who refuse to do that, who will never do that. They have their own interests at heart. Although I fail to understand how their interests can be different from the Earth's interests. We don't have a planet. This is the only planet that we have. And if we don't have it, we won't have any future. What else can we do? That is talking on the global scale. On an individual level, we can adopt more eco-friendly practices. Sure, we can plant trees, we can switch to renewable energy, we can do all sorts of these little things. But something that will benefit our planet much more than any of these is simply to reduce our meat consumption. You might be wondering why meat? Well, meat takes a lot of resources to grow. Water, crops. Most of the crops grown around the world are used to feed livestock. And in turn, they release a lot of gases which are harmful to the environment. Now, I remember just a few decades ago, meat was something that people ate once a week or once every 2 weeks. These days, it's become an integral part of our diet. If you refuse to eat meat, people will say, okay. Or other kinds of things. Besides harming our own bodies, meat is also harming the environment. And I'm not saying get rid of meat altogether. I love my beef steak, but just reduce the consumption. Instead of eating it every day, try eating it 2-3 times a week. If you're already doing that, try reducing it even more. And there's one thing which we can do, which is more beneficial than any of these, which is to control our explosive population growth. The world, it is estimated that even if every single family adopts a one-child policy, within a few years, our population will still climb up to 11 billion. 11 billion. How are we going to feed those people? How are we going to clothe it's likely going to be much higher than even believe. Because we just simply can't control that. So we, all of us, need to play a part in doing something about this. Now let us imagine once again, you don't have to close your eyes, but imagine that future. Make a promise to yourself that you will do something about your environment, your planet. You will play your part in saving the planet, in preserving that future, and making that future a reality.